recording now, so this is a real thing. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Thursday BOMA Idaho conversation. We've got me, obviously, Krisjan Hiner, Jana, and Tanner with ESI. Tanner, how's it going, man?
It's going well. Just glad to be here, ready to get this thing rolling.
Totally, man. So before we get into anything, Tanner, why don't you take a minute or two, however long, kind of introduce yourself, your role at ESI, and just let everybody kind of know what you're working on.
So Tanner Job, Business Development Manager. So I'm on the front end, sort of sales side for ESI, and then I kind of pitch it as a client relations. So when a client comes on board, I'm their sole point of contact throughout the entire process, whether they're in our pre-construction team or in a project. If they need anything, they can reach out to me, and I can help navigate them to the right person or get them through the process, whatever they need.
Awesome. And how long have you been with ESI now?
We're approaching 2.5 years, so it's flown by. Pretty crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I've got to say though, I am happy to have another long hair in BOMA, long-haired dude. There's not many of us out there, and it's always, nice to be around another long-haired fella.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that.
Dude. When I first got long hair, I was like, holy hair, but I'm right.
Yeah.
I'm right with you, so I can't.
Totally.
I think I'm the only one in the ESI office with long hair that's a guy that I can think of.
Nice.
So.
Miles Hash used to have a ponytail. He's not in the office though. He's a field guy. He's a superintendent. I don't know if you know Miles, but he used to have a long gray ponytail. And I haven't seen Miles in a long time. It may have all fallen out by now. I have no idea, but.
Well, I'll have to track him down and see if he's still with us after this.
You should. If you do, give him a high five for me. If you do,
will do.
Krisjan knows everybody. Just so you know, if you know Krisjan, it's like maybe 1 degree of separation between you and him and someone else who you know. I mean, it's crazy. The world gets smaller when Krisjan's in it. So thank you.
That's kind of my job. Yeah.
That's right. It is. Well, you guys, I'm excited about Symposium today. I'm excited about Symposium every day. But when it starts, like yesterday, we had rehearsals all day with the different panel people who are participating in the program, right? So in the morning, we had a rehearsal with the 6 panelists who are going to be doing the development, the economic impact of COVID on commercial real estate, and then looking at 2021 and beyond. So we had that panel in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we had the state of commercial real estate panel on, which there's 5 people on that. And plus we had, Krisjan was on there with us, and our president, Justin Cranny, was on there. A couple of marketing people were on there just to sort of get an idea of what we were going to talk about, to see if they needed to add anything to it. And honestly, when you're going into something like this, and this is usually the way I feel like the day of the symposium, right? Or maybe the day before the actual event, I get super nervous. Like, did we cover everything? Did we, are we really going to have anything interesting to say? And I know there's content, right? I know there's a demand for this because the attendance has been so high. So, but when it comes down to it, you get all these key people together, and even getting them on a Zoom call at the same time is challenging to find something that works for everybody, where everybody's in town and everybody's has an open hour. I even texted Tanner after. I'm like, I'm so relieved. I'm relieved and just happy that it is going to be so good. They are incredible, these 2 panels. And I wish we could have in fact, I probably should have just recorded the rehearsal. Like we could have,
seriously, especially that first one, that could have been the content. I mean, that could have been it for sure.
We
would have just, I mean, we were on there for 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. I mean, we pretty much filled the time almost. Yeah, if we would have just let them go, that would have been it. Yeah. And what kind of what came from that, and I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a very serious overarching theme to that panel, which is going to be amazing, and having everybody sort of unified behind this one, message or theme or whatever is going to be fantastic. I missed out on the second one though. Tell me talk about that one.
You were so right about the first one. I think, at the end of the first one, they can just like mic drop. It is going to be so good, that developer panel. And we have such good people on it. I'll just remind everybody really quickly who's on that panel. We've got Neil Nelson with ESI, then Chase Erkins with Lee and Associates, Tommy Alquist with BVA, Wes Jost of Zions Bank, Shellen Rodriguez of SMR Development, and then the moderator for that one's going to be Scott Shaner. So Tanner Neal was so good in that panel discussion.
And he has such a big beard. I hadn't seen him in a minute, man. I didn't realize that he was full, like, what a Bunyan beard or whatever. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah,
A
total.
little bit of a change for him. Yeah, first time I've seen the beard too, so this is good.
I didn't know he could grow any hair at all.
I'll let him know you said that.
Please do, yeah.
No, it was really, honestly, that conversation, I left there so inspired. You know, I mean, that's a room a lot of people would love to be in and just listen to that.
Absolutely.
Right. And I was so happy to be there and to just take it all in. So I'm really excited for our attendees. A lot of times, and I think I had this conversation with somebody, that a lot of times I leave that, when we're doing it live, I leave that area because I've got 9 other things I've got to do on site during the event. So I don't typically get to sit there and listen to what they're saying. And so to be able to sit there, and it was really good. And then the second panel that you missed was the state of commercial real estate. And on that panel is Sarah Shropshire from Cushman and Wakefield, Amanda Snowy Holiday from Colliers, Idaho, and then David Tucker from Allied Universal, Devin Pierce from TOK, and Trevor from BVA. And he's going to be the moderator, Trevor Nickel from BVA. And that panel was really interesting because kind of like a little bit different than the first panel. It seemed like in that one, people started talking to each other more than they did in the first panel, which was really cool, and asking each other questions. And then they would bring something up, and like Amanda started talking about, well, we can talk about office in this way. And she said, well, what do you think about that? You know, what do you think I should say? And I was like, well, you just said it. That's exactly what.
Just say that.
Just say that. Like, we should be recording this again. It was really incredible. It was eye-opening for sure. Like, the first panel was eye-opening in the sense that the statement that was made is, hey, we're going to be realistic here in Boise. And we're not watching the news and thinking that that's what we're going through, because it's not, you know? I mean, Tanner Neal said, and Tommy said, last year was one of the best years we've had.
Yep.
You know, we're planning all these projects, and so we're not going to, you know, buy into what they're saying on the news, because it's not happening here. It's just not. It's different. And that was also kind of a theme in the second panel. So anyway, I'm excited about that. I wanted to ask.
And how did Trevor do? Is he good with moderating? Is he
Yeah.
Cool?
He was really good. You know, I asked him, I said, do you want to add anything as you're going along? I mean, Tommy's going to be speaking on behalf of BVA, but do you want to add anything, like your experiences and stuff? He's like, no, I just want to lead the conversation and then get out of the way. It was really, I mean, those panelists. And then I got a call from Sarah last night to sort of go over her mind was going, right? And so we were able to talk through some more of what she's focusing on retail. So, and there's a lot to unpack there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that could be a whole hour thing just all on its own.
You're trying to decide exactly how deep to dive, right?
Sure.
And so anyway, and as I was talking to them, I was like, okay, well, you guys are going to come out of the commercial break, and then the next thing after you is a commercial break. And I got off of there thinking, do we have any commercials? I know that our members are putting them together, right? So Tanner, you sent me ESIs today.
Yep.
So I want to play it really quick. I have it.
Let's do it.
Do it.
I want to play it really quick. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay,
what tabs does Jana have open?
Ordered in Idaho, ESI offers nationally ranked, industry-leading commercial construction. For nearly 50 years, we have successfully managed projects across the country and internationally. At ESI, we believe that everyone succeeds together. Our culture is focused on the relentless pursuit of safety, delivering superior service, quality, and value. Our teams get the job done right, on time, and within budget. Our talented people make the difference. That's why we recruit and train the industry's best. Together with our customers, we focus on building remarkable projects that will make an enduring impact in every community we touch. ESI, a construction partner providing first choice service, dedicated, dependable, dynamic.
All right.
Yeah, that turned out awesome. That turned out super good.
Yeah. It was actually pretty good. It was good working with 1890, and it was a pretty quick turnaround with them, so that was nice to see. And it was just a good team effort with the marketing team and heading up on our side and getting it done.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, and hopefully with that, I mean, you can obviously use it for other stuff, and so having that would be awesome for you guys, hopefully.
Yeah, no, that was definitely the goal, to make it, definitely Idaho specific, but at the same token, something we can keep using for the next couple of years and roll it out multiple times.
That's awesome.
Those projects were so big. I loved walking around with Rob Nelson over at the project, is it CAR-T? Is that what it is?
Yep, I believe that's the one you went to.
That's what it's called, right? I'm saying it right?
Yep, CAR-T.
Where was I? No, walking around with them on your job site there was eye-opening. It was, and talking to Neil, then I coupled that with talking to Neil yesterday on the panel discussion about, some of the challenges that have come with COVID, and trying to build through that. So I'm sure that, our attendees are going to hear a lot about that. I don't want to give too much away of what he's going to say. So it was interesting, and I'm sure you see, as you're doing your job, what I saw on the site, right? That there's different challenges to probably earning or winning a bid on a job or going after new business when you know the restrictions that are at hand. How has that gone for you guys this year?
On my side specifically, right when COVID hit, everyone didn't want to meet in person. So that kind of changed the game up, where usually you're grabbing a lunch with somebody or a coffee, something like that. And we had to basically get into Zoom calls, figure them out quick, and make sure we were ready to go. And the technology worked each and every time. So, I wouldn't say it was a major issue, but definitely just like a change, making sure, everyone's getting their home offices set up, or whether you're in the office and you just got to set up your background to make sure it's good and all of that. But no major issues, but definitely a learning curve for a minute there, just letting people talk, giving a pause between conversation or someone finishing up a sentence and rolling it from there.
Yeah, it is different for sure. Have you, what are some of the major questions, like, okay, so, as you're pursuing business that is different than before?
Just more people are heightened awareness around safety, or even just general health, even for how we're running the jobs, what changes we've made just since that time, since COVID's hit, and what we're taking forward. So I don't want to get too into the details and let our speakers expand on that, but there's definitely a bunch of changes that we've had to make and implement just to keep our jobs open, safe, and running, and make sure all our subcontractors and ESI employees get home safe each and every day, whether that's physically and just not being sick and stuff like that. So.
Okay.
With COVID protocols and all that stuff, have subcontractors been pretty good about jumping on board with that stuff, or you guys had a lot of pushback with doing different stuff?
Everyone's been team mentality. Hey, how do we take this on? What's the best route forward? So definitely slowed it down for a little bit just to discuss, figure things out. But everyone's been on board. Once they figure out a safe pathway forward.
Cool.
So I have a question for you, because we want to let people in on this, that, okay, the first part of the symposium there is kind of broken up into 3 hours, blocks, I should say. So the first block is really going to feature ESI and doing this workshop that we're putting together. And some of that hasn't even been shot yet, so we don't even know exactly what we're doing. But you've spent a lot of time putting this together. And so I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit about what went into the decisions on, because you and I have had a lot of conversations over the last few months, but what kind of went into the decisions on who you wanted to have in there, what topics you guys wanted for all of the attendees at the event?
Yeah, so initially, it was first off the top of my head, let's bring the safety team in. They're obviously front of mind when something comes to this. And then as I discussed with Rob, And actually we had our quality assurance, quality control, QA/QC director, Andrea, also in the room. We were like, hey, yeah, we know part of the story, but let's rope in a couple others to make sure we really fully understand and get everything out there. So we actually have our director of operations, Jarrett, in the video. And then we also roped in Dan Mandeville, who was on our safety team, and then our director of safety, Marianne, as well, to help kind of touch on the story right when COVID hit and how we had to react and move, and what policies and processes we implemented right away. And then, how we communicated out to everybody on just what was happening, keeping people up to date as, all the guidelines with CDC changed constantly, and just, make sure everyone was upfront, honest, and, all the communication was good. And everyone was up to date and up to speed on everything as soon as it came out, or within, 24 hours, as soon as they could turn that around and get it to us. So it was good.
That had to be challenging on the job site, working and having all these different subs coming and going, and then some changes.
Oh yeah.
You have to let everybody know and figure out who's going to be on site tomorrow. And I know we talked to Rob a little bit about that. And then we're also going to focus a little bit on turning our eyes to the future, right? And some of those processes and procedures that worked, and things that you'll carry forward and continue to do, which I think is super interesting. I've always been a germaphobe. Welcome to my club, everyone. That's what I feel like. I was always the one to go into the grocery store, wipe down like the entire cart, because I didn't know which part of it my kid was going to touch when I'm in there. And, people are walking in, looking at me as I'm wiping the whole thing down. And I've always just kind of been aware that way. I don't want to say I'm a total phobia about it, with that, but we have to be careful, right? If you really have to self-evaluate every day. And that's part of what we talk about in that workshop too, just, being personally responsible, and also being, a member of a team. So I thought that was interesting. And then the minute, I'm going to tell you, the minute we opened up our webpage that Krisjan put together, and we put the schedule on there, and you guys had that lessons learned constructing during COVID, I got a phone call right then from Idaho AGC. And they were like, come on in on this. We want to be able to support this. We, whatever ESI is doing, we want to support that. And whatever BOMA is putting together for this, we want to be part of it. So they stepped in as a sponsor of that workshop to help us put that together. And then they also opened up their parking lot. So that is going to be one of the sites that people can go to pick up their Symposium swag before the event. So I think that workshop, Tanner, that you guys have put together is going to be very well received. And that's something we're going to be able to release just as its own standalone video too, so that people can kind of take advantage of that. Because we're talking about things that, yes, we're talking about COVID. We know people are tired of talking about it, but we're not just talking about that. We're talking about those procedures and those operations, those daily things that you guys are doing still and will continue to do because of it. So I think that it's going to be very well received. I'm just totally excited about it, and it just is kind of a testament to how on point it is with all the people that have come in and said, hey, can we be a part of this? How can we help? What can we do? So thank you for putting so much time and effort into that. I know it's been, I remember one day in particular, it's been hectic trying to put it together. Our calls kept getting dropped at my house. That's my home office. It's like notorious for that. And so I had to leave and walk down the street to call. It was either freezing or hot. I can't remember. But I remember being outside and thinking, oh my gosh, I got to get back in. So it must have been hot at first, because it was probably in the fall when we were talking. And just going through this many times, trying to kind of nail down what we thought, people would want to see and hear. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, for me, it was just getting to head this up. I was actually just got to learn more about what we did on the field side, talking with safety and our field operations team, just to kind of see what they actually went through as soon as it hit, and what their day-to-day, turned into or what got changed from their day-to-day from being their normal to how it affected them, and really tested our processes and, showed us that, hey, we do have good processes, and with a few tweaks, we were able to rebound quickly and get things up and running to 100% again. So it was good.
Awesome. So exciting. So very exciting. Well, good. Well, you guys have played a big part in this event for, I don't even know how many years now. It's been quite a few.
As many as I can remember, yeah.
Yep. I mean, I've met with Neil and done interviews with him on when we used to do kind of the overview of the Valley before, all of the information was so readily available and people wanted to know what projects were. We'd go around the Valley and shoot all of them, which was such an undertaking, seriously. And we would meet, I've met Neil, I remember we met him one time when ESI had an office on Cloverdale and Overland when you guys were building your new offices. You were there temporarily. I've met him down at the hotel downtown in the lobby when it was just getting done. What's it called? Help me.
In at 500?
Yes, in at 500. And we met in the lobby when they were still cleaning up and stuff. And we met in the lobby there. It was totally noisy. Did an interview with him there. We've met. He has been so supportive of these projects and trying to make sure we get the information out there to, the building owners, the managers, the generals, all of the people who are, owning and operating and building and developing in this area. So, and we're even talking to him, about projects in different states and how Idaho compares. So it's been just a real pleasure to work with you guys over the years. It's been an awesome partnership. And I just thank you so much for your hard work.
Absolutely. No, and I'd echo the same about BOMA. I mean, I've only been into it, I would say really a year, got my feet wet a little bit at the beginning of my career at ESI, but people are they're open. You go to the events, they're ready to talk to you. They want to know who you are, even if they don't know who you are yet. And it's easy to, meet a guy like Krisjan or yourself and have a conversation for the first time and kind of find out who else there is to talk to and who's involved and just go from there. And it opens up doors you don't really realize.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about, right? Just the networking and the associations that we have with people and building those. And that's been a hard thing this year, right? Like you were talking, I mean, trying to shift all those client meetings to Zoom meetings or whatever. We have had so many challenges and in a networking industry, that's the whole thing. And my personality, and I know Krisjan's the same way, is we like to be out and about in the community. We like to be meeting people. We like to be helping them make deals together. And that has been a tough beat, right? Trying to put this together virtually. Let me tell you, I still remember one of my first Zoom calls that I did. And it was for the IBR, who's also a BOMA member, and Cindy Suffolk called me and said, hey, we're going to do some information on what BOMA's doing during COVID, and we're going to talk to some other people. And I was sitting here in my home office, and I've always worked from home, so that's not a big deal, but I had all my kids in virtual school, so they were all over the house, and you could hear teachers or whatever. And the very first phone call, I didn't know if I should touch my face or not, because you're not supposed to touch your face in COVID. Right. And I was like, my eye itches, but I can't touch my face because it's COVID. We've learned a lot since then. I mean, we've learned we can survive, and our industry and our members have just been amazing. That's not even the right word for it. There's not even a word. Just unreal to me. Just the support and this, I don't even know a word. Just the resilience. Really, honestly, the resilience and just working together and trying to keep this thing alive, right? As we all are.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, as someone who is a 100% extrovert, I've taken the Myers-Briggs test a dozen times. I'm 100% extroverted. I cannot wait until we can get together and do the monthly lunches and the golf tournament and all that stuff together, because extroverts like us are not made to be at the home office alone all day, every day, and just talking to people on Zoom calls.
Yeah.
The depths of depression that I have felt throughout this have been crazy, and I never ever would have expected it.
Well, it's the endorphins.
Especially on the networking side. I mean, all the events, even if you do a Zoom networking call, it's just not the same.
No.
It's not the same. I mean, yeah. And for what we do at Stackout Group, and we've used Zoom for a number of years, because we have clients in Florida and Southern California, so we've used this to do meetings with people a lot over the years, but never as our, primary way of, you know, talking to people. It's been crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, there's just something about being in the same room. There's an energy that you draw from people, and
I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger, and I can't quite. Yeah, it's just not the same.
Well, even meeting in person right now, you can't hug, so you're like, oh.
Exactly. Yeah, I want to, but I can't.
I feel so deprived.
But I probably will anyway.
It's worse now because no one knows if the other person wants to elbow bump, fist bump, handshake.
It's so awkward. I know. I hate it.
I figure if people are wearing a mask when they meet with me, that I probably shouldn't hug them. But we do. I think we're going to get bracelets. BOMA's going to get bracelets. Maybe we'll put them in the swag boxes. But they are bracelets that tell people how you are. Like if you're ever wearing a green bracelet, come and hug me. I'm fine with it. If you're yellow,
I like it.
Like or a handshake or whatever. If you don't know them, you probably don't want to hug them. But if you're wearing a yellow bracelet, then they know it's okay for them to get closer than 6 feet. That you're comfortable with, you know, interaction up, you know, of that sort or whatever. And if they're wearing red, you just stay away and you don't touch. And they're not comfortable with it. And it's just an easy way. I can't remember what they're called. Somebody brought it up in one of the BAE calls that we have, you know, people that do what I do across the country. They're having in-person events on a smaller scale, and they want to make sure that their members are comfortable with each other, right? So they're having them wear these comfort bands as to how they feel about whatever. So we may have to get some of those.
That's super smart. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Just so that, you know, so you don't get too friendly or up in somebody's face that they're just not comfortable.
Yeah, no, that's killer.
That could be definitely a new trend for conferences.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I'm super excited about this. I was writing down a list today of items we're going to put in the swag bags, the swag boxes, whatever it ends up being. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about some of the commercials like yours that have come in and some of the input that we've received for the program. Putting this together kind of like a television show has been super enlightening and challenging. And, the live portions of it is kind of scares me a little bit because you have to depend on technology to do it.
Yep.
And it's not always the most dependable, but.
Well, on the bright side, next year we'll get to do it like this and in person too.
Mm-hmm. Yippee!
yeah, we get to do it both ways next year.
Well, that is going to be interesting. I think that's opened a lot of doors. I mean, it probably has for all of our industries, right?
Yeah.
Just being able to, we've talked about this for a long time, just being able to hit all of our members all over the state. Because I know you guys have projects that aren't just here in the Treasure Valley area. You guys have projects all over the place. And Krisjan, you too. I mean, it's something that, the wider reach we have. I sent a letter today to all the mayors around the entire state, inviting them and their offices to tune in for this free event. And I've already received people's registrations from different cities. So I know that people are desperate to connect and they need this information. It's not always easy to find. So providing it both electronically and in person, I think is going to add value for the participants, the sponsors, for businesses around the state. I think it's going to be a good thing.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Okay, Tanner, any parting thoughts before we let you go?
Nothing really. Looking forward to see what our team produces for the final video and get that rolling, and then bolt the panels and just see what we can do. I'm excited for the symposium. It should be good.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, well, thanks you guys. That was easy.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay, you bet, Tanner. Talk to you soon, buddy.
Talk to you soon.
Okay,
bye.